Shalom and welcome with Bindranowski. $1 billion is an amount most people surely can't imagine. Maybe older Italians can relate to this, when a loaf of bread costed thousands of lira, a time when nearly everyone was a millionaire. But with such a currency, just scale it up and change the headline to a trillion lira question. Yes, I was once a millionaire. Couldn't remember if it was Turkey or Yugoslavia, where I exchanged 100 Deutschmarks and got $1 million of their currency. A millionaire of worthless paper. Anyway, I'm wondering how many people may struggle even to figure out how many digits a billion has. Well, they may say a lot. And to carry $1 billion as cash with $100 bills, a wheelbarrow may not be large enough. But anyway, first question. What would you do with $1 billion? Buy a private jet? A mega yacht? A mansion with 73 bedrooms? A bunker to protect you from disaster or a nuke? So the crew to keep it running may cost $1 million per year, but don't worry, all easily covered in $1 billion for the next maybe 25 years. I remembered when I was young, every now and then we heard about corruption in the area of 10 million or 50 million in the news. An old friend of mine had for a while a job as some sort of business counseling, working also for large corporations. And he said, the corruption you hear in the media is just the tip of the iceberg. Today you hear often of corruption in the billions. Makes me wonder, what is now the hidden rest of the iceberg? Anyway, there is something that got sold to us as necessity for safety: war. I heard the war against Iran cost the American taxpayers $1 billion each day. Every single day. Just think about it. And there are many soldiers who joyfully subscribe, repeating the lie to defend the homeland 5,000 or more miles away. And they made you to believe Iran is weeks away from having a nuke, a nuclear weapon, while you have already thousands of them since decades. Then afraid their most advanced long-range missiles that reach, who knows, maybe 3,000 miles or whatever, and this is a threat to your homeland. And even if they reach you, and your military is not capable to defend missiles that fly from such a distance, 5,000 miles, you invade other people's homeland and destroy their children's future and feel you have done something good? We all know each and every single war in the Middle East have not brought any peace nor some sort of democracy, neither a better life or freedom for the people in the Middle Eastern or the African countries. And above all that, every war was based on lies and false fabricated pretenses. Countless souls erased by every $1 billion given to Moloch, so to say. Do you think military decorations declaring a soldier as a war hero will impress Yeshua when one stands before him? I don't want to go further into other things about war, especially because I don't have enough insight of the details. You can continue to believe CIA, Mossad, MI6 or whatever secret services and the propaganda machinery of mainstream media, but I don't trust anything what they say. My source of truth is the word of Adonai, Yeshua's truth alone. But to continue with the $1 billion question, I go to Matthew 25 verse 43. It says, I was a stranger and you did not take me in. And I was naked and you did not cover me. And I was sick or in prison and you did not visit me. Verse 44. Even then they will answer and say, Our master, when did we see you hungry, or thirsty, or a stranger, or naked, or sick, or in prison, and did not minister to you? How much food can you give with $1 billion? How much clean water? In Africa, for example, you need maybe only $3 per person. So 300 million souls would not be hungry or thirsty. Some may say, there's not enough food for all the people in the world. We are completely overpopulated. But this is a blatant lie. It's just a matter of distribution and more of willingness. So clothing for one person, not that vast overpriced designer suit, a simple shirt, $5, pants, $15, socks, $2, shoes, $18. It's $40 per person. That's very simple clothing. So with $1 billion, you could clothe 25 million people. And they don't need new clothes every day. But a day of war blows away that amount. And referring to the verse, for the sick people, instead pumping billions into the pharma mafia's greedy mouth, you could plant a lot of herbs with $1 billion, as they are the best for healing. Okay, we still need some sort of hospitals, broken bones or stuff like that. But the rest, if the agriculture food mafia would not put so much poison into the fields and all the GMO and stuff like that, many would not even be so sick. There are possibly more people in prison because of an unpaid parking ticket than the ones in politics who laundered millions of dollars by corruption. So that section in the verse, to visit prisoners in prison for crime, might be more seen as metaphoric. But many people are prisoners of the system in depression and anxiety, and they need encouragement. Will you go to them? And $1 billion per day are only by the Iran war. There's Russia against NATO in Ukraine. How much is their daily budget? I don't know. And exactly how much has the US and the EU pumped already into that war? Billions above hundreds of billions, if not already $1 trillion. Wherever it lands, it doesn't matter. If it goes to the war or into the pockets of some super wealthy, that's another subject. It's in the billions. Venezuela was possibly a bargain. I don't know how much the preparation to invade Cuba already costs. How much does Israel blow up in the wars in Gaza? Even the damage on the buildings goes in the billions. And the rest, wherever they bomb in the Middle East, it's just insane. It's possibly much more, but if we only take $1 billion every day combined for all wars, which includes the war against humanity with all the toxic sprays in the skies, the needles, 5G, radiation, propaganda wars, pharmakeia, digital surveillance wars, corruption war, and whatever more. Altogether, it's possibly much more than $1 billion per day, but only with $1 billion per day. How many people could be healthy and live in dignity instead poverty? I exclude the brainwashed leftist green hypocrites who will surely not glue themselves in front of tanks and missiles to protest against the waste of oil and the pollution and whatever nonsense. These cohorts will just parrot what the mainstream liars tell them. It's not even worth it to spend time about these deceived people. However, with my yearly budget, the last 20 years, $1 billion will give me another 400,000 years to keep going. And even if I could increase it 4 times the budget, still enough for 100,000 years. Not bad. Though I'm doing pretty well, but still often I wish I have a little bit more to be able to give more than only my time to help others. So my ministry is actually to serve others with my gift. And this is just limited by time. But personally, for me, with $1 billion, if I would get $1 billion, I would not go like Hananiah and Sapphira, saying, I will give all to the Lord, and said, I will take a little bit from me, just a small portion. For example, I would like to buy a yacht, similar to the style of what once my uncle had, some roughly 45 feet long, though I doubt it's even possible to find such a boat anywhere in the world. And if so, it may cost no more than 20,000. Plus, to modernize it, maybe twice as much. And then to have a small farm to produce some food for some widows in the neighborhood. And yes, I would say to the Lord, with $1 billion from that building, I would like to build my beautiful dream mansion, which would cost about 50,000 or maybe 60 with a nice grand piano included. So altogether, the yacht, the house on a sizable plot by the sea where I could dock the boat, maybe 100,000. So there will be still a good amount of the $1 billion left over to give to the poor and needy, orphans and widows. But okay, the chance for me to have $1 billion or to get $1 billion is pretty low. Lower than low, even 100K is pretty far out of reach. Not completely impossible, but I would skip the yacht. Matthew 25 goes actually further for those who support the war machinery. Yeshua, who says, truly I say to you, inasmuch as you did not do to one of these little ones, you also did not do it to me, and be sent away to everlasting torment. Anyway, $1 billion every day, what would you do with that? Possibly a rather hypothetical question. Personally, I would not really know what to do with even 1 million or 100,000 a day. I just don't have a network that anything could be organized. And if so, surely my main focus would be to feed a lot of poor and probably also distributing the gospel, the good news to the ends of the earth. One thing I would surely never do, to waste it in destructive war. Not even a single cent. $1 billion each and every day, meditate about it. How insane. As the devil don't care about humanity, he obviously found enough obedient servants to waste so much. That Yeshua's statement is true when he said, the poor you will have always around. He knew it's not because there would not be enough resources to feed all people properly, but he knew there is a group of selfish and greedy people who serve their own and Satan's interest to kill, steal, and destroy. And these are usually the ones who are in power, elected, selected, or unelected as presidents, kings, and leaders. Yes, there have been and may still are a handful of exceptions, presidents who really care for their people, but they usually get assassinated sooner or later as all the others before them. I hope it will change, that the righteous presidents who care for their own people might be successful, just like some in Africa, in Sahel region. So Yeshua laughs knowing this billion is just worthless paper, but weeps for the millions of murdered souls with $1 billion every day. So enough with that. In 1 billion years, the righteous will still rejoice, and in 1 billion years, the wicked still suffer. Even it was never the desire of Yeshua that anyone will perish, but a free choice of evil and ignorant people. In 1 billion years, and 1 trillion years, and a gazillion years, forever. So enough now with the message. All glory and honor belongs to Yeshua. Amen.